to the Elevate Talk Show. I am your host, Adrianna Cauthen.
And I'm Adrianna Cauthen, your co-host, and we're the mother-daughter talk show team that's here to elevate your family. If you haven't done so already, please take a second to like this video and to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss any of our latest episodes.
And we have a great episode planned for you today. In our Around the Town segment, we are going to be taking you to the beautiful, elegant Chateau Elan Winery and Resort in Brazelton, Georgia. That's straight up 85 North. And so you don't want to miss that. In our perspective segment, I'm going to be giving you, or actually Adrianna is going to be sharing with you the results of our Facebook poll where we asked people whether they thought emotional abuse was automatic grounds for a divorce. And Adrianna and I will also be giving you our perspective on that topic. And in our continuing the conversation interview, we sat down with Dr. Bille Boyd-Cox. Dr. Cox is a pastor and author, a life coach. And she talks about what she does to help women who've been physically and or emotionally abused. You don't want to miss this interview. She has some really, really wonderful things to say. And with that question being on the table, we want to ask you that same question. Is emotional abuse automatic grounds for a divorce? Can you take a moment to go to our YouTube, to the YouTube page and answer that question in the comments section of the Elevate Talk Show YouTube page. Adrianna?
So we've got one more segment for you, our Meal of the Week segment, where I'll be teaching you how to make quick, easy meals for your family.
Very, very good. So we got a lot planned, but don't go away. We got to take a break, but we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Elevate Talk Show and to our perspective segment of the show. Adrianna, can you share with our audience the question that we asked on our Facebook poll?
Yeah, so the question that we asked in the poll was, is emotional abuse grounds for divorce? Mm-hmm. And we had 4 options. We had always, most of the time, sometimes, and never. And there was a pretty strong consensus among the poll takers. Mm-hmm. 83.3% said that emotional abuse is always grounds for divorce.
Wow.
8.3% said most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Another 8.3% said sometimes, and 0% said never.
Wow.
Which means that everyone who took the poll agrees that emotional abuse is grounds for the divorce at least some of the time.
Wow. Well, let's flesh that out a little bit more. I'm curious to know what you think or feel about that. Do you think emotional abuse is always grounds for divorce?
Yes, I definitely would say that it is.
Wow.
Well, first of all, emotional abuse a lot of times escalates into physical abuse.
Wow.
I mean, you don't spend your whole life being a gentle, nice person and then wake up one day and decide that you want to punch your spouse.
True.
That's not how life works.
That's true. So you think that it could lead to the next thing?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, and I think that I agree with you for the most part, especially having been in a previous marriage where there was emotional abuse, and I know how debilitating that was for me. I will say this, though, I do think that there are times when if a person is willing to get help, that the marriage could be salvaged, but it's got to be, I still think even in that, boundaries have to be set. It may be that one spouse has to physically leave the relationship, physically get to a safe place, and make sure that they have set serious boundaries and not just take another person's word for it. By that I mean the other person, the abuser. It's easy to say, I'm going to do better. I'm going to get help. Just come back home. I don't think that's a good thing at all. But if a person is willing to take the necessary steps to get help and they've proven that they are going in the right direction. I do think that there are those cases when a marriage can be salvaged.
Well, what I would say about that is if a person who is,
Yeah.
allegedly emotionally abusive
Right.
is willing to get help and actually make the changes, I would say that person definitely has problems,
Right.
but I wouldn't necessarily say that they're abusive. Like,
Okay.
what I mean by abusive is like you've tried everything and
Okay.
they still won't change.
Right.
I mean, I think that's abuse and I think you need to get out.
Yeah, definitely you need to get to a safe place. Well, we brought you our perspective. Feel free to share your perspective on that question on our YouTube page. Just share your comments. We'd love to know what you think. Well, we're going to take a break, but we will be right back. Don't go away.
Right now we're going to do our next segment, which is continuing the conversation, where we bring in a special guest to continue the conversation we had in our perspective segment.
Yes, and today our special guest is Dr. Bille Boyd-Cox. Dr. Cox is the founder and lead pastor of Open Door Ministries International. She is the CEO of Beyond the Walls Coaching and Consulting. She's also the CEO and chief strategist of Penzi Ferguson Enterprises. She's the author of several books, and she's a certified life coach and a realtor. Dr. Cox previously served as the senior pastor of Macedonia Baptist Church in Conyers, Georgia, and she was the first woman to serve as a pastor of an historic African American Baptist church here in Rockdale County. She holds a BS degree in organizational leadership from Mercer University, a Master's of Divinity from Mercer University's McAfee School of Theology, and a Doctor of Ministry from the Interdenominational Theological Center in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, so please turn your attention to the interview with Dr. Bille Boyd-Cox.
Good morning, Dr. Boyd-Cox. I am just thrilled to have you here on the show today and to pick your brain and have you share with our audience. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. I am delighted to have been asked and to be available to be here with you this morning. So I'm really looking forward to time together.
Excellent. Well, let's get into some of the things that I want to talk to you today about. First, can you share with my audience a little bit about your background and tell us about the journey that led you into the ministry?
So I am, I'm a native of Alabama.
Okay.
Grew up there and graduated high school there and came to Georgia later in life and went to Mercer University and got a bachelor's and went back a couple of years later and got a Master of Divinity degree and then took some time off and went to ITC and got a Doctor of Ministry degree. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother. I'm like what the millennials call a serial entrepreneur.
Yes.
And so it's interesting how I ended up in ministry because I'm an introvert, and I know that I'm a social extrovert. You would think that I just blossom, but I'm a social introvert. I'm a situational introvert.
Wow.
Extrovert. Yes. Situational introvert. Yes. And I never liked talking in front of people. I never liked talking.
Really?
Not when I taught Sunday school, I didn't like standing in front of people.
Wow.
My husband and I moved to North Carolina and I started working for a pharmaceutical company. I was in HR and, the day after I got there, they said, okay, so you're going to be flying to New York next week, but to Pearl River, New York next week, because we want you to become the trainer. And I'm like, that means standing in front of people. I don't do that. But anyway, God was preparing me even then to be able to stand in front of people.
So now you own and operate the Pain Navigator, which is a coaching and consulting company. Can you share with my audience a little bit about why you chose this particular platform and about the services that you offer?
Okay, so it's not, the Pain Navigator is a moniker. the
Okay.
business is called Beyond the Walls Coaching and Consulting.
That's right.
And I do that because I've been through some horrible times in my life.
Wow.
You know, we don't all look like what we've been through, but
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
when if I might be just a little bit transparent, you know,
Yes.
you're looking at somebody who's been molested and
Yes.
raped, all of
Yes.
those dynamics, and I've been through some pretty painful situations in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just I think it was 2019, I was actually riding on I-20,
Mm.
and I heard the Lord say to me, I have a lot of revelations on I-20. I heard the Lord say, you know, that I'm the pain navigator. I'm like, what is this? Because I
Yes.
have gone through the pain and
Yes.
I'm able to help people come through the pain. Particularly
Absolutely.
my ministry in that area is to women only.
Yeah.
Not that
Okay.
men have not been through some painful things, but it's to women only. And
Yes.
I do relationship coaching, but I don't coach it as far as a relationship between a man and a woman. I
Right.
coach the woman about her relationship with herself, because
Wow.
oftentimes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we look for people to make us happy, and
Yes.
particularly when we are in a relationship, we're looking for that other person to
Sure.
fulfill all of our needs and make us happy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
half the time, we don't know what our favorite color is, what our
No,
favorite food
no,
is.
no,
We
no.
don't have
Anything
any
about
idea.
ourselves.
So I help women, you know, discover them, and I help
Yeah.
them have a relationship with themselves, because
I love
before
it.
you can love anybody else, you really have to love yourself.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you know, you were somewhat transparent right there, and I appreciate that. And this next question leads me to some my own personal pain. Before I married Andrew, and he's a wonderful guy. We've been married 20 years, just celebrated 20 years of marriage this year, and it's wonderful. But I was in a relationship with a former husband for 10 years who was a crack cocaine addict. And that took me through and our children through some serious changes. As a matter of fact, I feel like in some ways my children, who are all adults now, are still having to grapple with some of the stuff that happened then. But you know, it is what it is, and you know, they're working through some of that, and I'm grateful for that. But there are a lot of women, married and unmarried, who are in relationships where they have either suffered physical abuse, and who are currently even living in dangerous situations like I was. I was in a very bad situation. I was fortunately able to get out, but there are a lot of women that are in these situations. I just want you to just kind of go there with me. First of all, what word would you have for these women, and where can they go for help?
I would really say, get out.
Yes.
You know, there's so many reasons that we use. Some of them are economical reasons that we
Definitely.
stay. Some of them is, I grew up without my father. I don't want my
Yes.
kids without their father. You know,
Definitely.
we use some of them, well, the Bible doesn't agree with
Right.
divorce. We use all kinds of things, and we allow people to use
Definitely.
all kind of
Yes.
things
Mhm.
and all kind of principles or whatever.
Yes.
But
Yes.
God does
Yes.
not mean for us to be abused in
No.
any shape, form, or fashion.
That's a good word.
Tell somebody who is in an abusive situation,
Mhm.
particularly if it's physical abuse,
Yes.
find a way,
Yes.
make a plan,
Yes.
make a plan. If you can steal 50 cents a week away
Amen.
from whatever it is, make a
Amen.
plan
Oh,
of
absolutely.
departure. Don't tell everybody your
No.
stuff. Make a plan of departure. Make a
Definitely.
plan, and don't make a move until you've got that plan solidified, unless your life is being threatened and you're in danger and you gotta go. If you
Right.
gotta go, pick up and go. Don't worry about
That's right.
toiletries or the kids'
Nothing. None of
clothes.
that
Don't worry
mess.
about anything, because all of that is replaceable. What is not replaceable is your life and the life of your children.
Yeah.
And you shared, you know, that, you know, from the first marriage, the
Yeah.
trauma that
Yes.
you're
Yes.
and that
Yes.
you experienced, and
Yes.
you know, all of our decisions
Mhm.
impact our children,
They
and you know,
do.
they do. And from, you know, a previous marriage to my
Mhm.
kid's father,
Mhm.
my kids have come up through some trauma and drama.
Mhm. Mhm.
Even in the previous,
Mhm.
you know, they've come up through some stuff. And so
Sure.
I say there comes a time in our lives when we have to choose ourselves.
Definitely.
Choose
Definitely.
yourself. And
Yeah.
if you're looking for somewhere to go around here,
Mhm.
Project Renewal is the
Yeah.
only domestic violence that I know, but there are
Right.
domestic task force. There is Haven International, which is Kenya Motley.
Yes.
Yes, Haven International
Okay.
is a resource to be able to reach out to
That's
her
good.
and find her online. Project Renewal is where the shelter is, and none of us know where it is. We just know
Right,
that there,
right. There
yeah,
is
Project
one. Right,
Renewal.
right. Those are good resources.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
those are good. Yeah, and I have to agree with you. I can't tell you just 110% about what you said, to make a plan, and that is what I did.
yes,
Put that in once I realized that this isn't getting any better. I think at
right.
first I was in denial. And like you said, people said all the things that you mentioned earlier about, is this really God's, God doesn't like divorce, but he also doesn't like a man covering his wife in violence. They forget that part of the story.
Right, absolutely.
And so, and I, and money, because I was, a stay-at-home mom. So he was a primary breadwinner. So I kept thinking all these things, but I did make a plan. I did have some good people in my life to help me make that plan. And I was able to execute the plan and get out. But I would absolutely agree with you as someone who's actually walked through that, that the things you just said are just very, very pertinent and true. So yeah, the next thing I would say is that it's one thing to be physically abused. We just talked about that a little bit, but one of the questions I asked my viewers and on a Facebook poll was, is emotional abuse also grounds for leaving or for a divorce? As a pastor, as a woman who's dealt with some things, how do you weigh on this aspect of abuse?
Abuse is abuse.
Oh,
To me,
wow.
it's like a lie is a lie. There are no big
Yes,
ones, little ones,
that's
alive.
true. That's true.
Abuse is abuse in any form. In
Wow.
any form. And sometimes, particularly in my case,
Yeah.
it wasn't physically abused, but the emotional abuse.
Yes.
The emotional abuse can be a long, long road back. It's like going down some proverbial rabbit hole. You have valued, your self-esteem is low. You don't feel yourself worthy. So emotional abuse, one of the things that my father said to me, and I took it as a form of emotional abuse, and it made it caused me to make decisions that were not so good for my life. It caused me, I would say, caused me to settle. One of the things, when I told my father, God bless his soul, when I told my father I was divorcing my children's father because of everything that was going on, my father said to me, "Who?" Now this is a pastor of a church. My father said to me, "Who's gonna want you with 3 children?" Oh
my God, you're kidding.
And that seed was planted and followed me.
Definitely.
And followed me.
And
caused me to settle and to accept
the badness.
What not for me.
Yes.
Because then I, when I met someone and I was in a relationship with someone, I began to say, well, this is the best I can do.
Oh my.
My daddy said nobody's gonna, and he's willing to accept me with 3 children as if I had no value of my own.
Exactly.
And those seeds are planted in us.
Yes.
Though we don't bring them to the surface every time we have a conversation.
Right, but they're there.
To make a decision about moving forward with a relationship, it's there. And so we suffer all kind of emotional abuse. But if you're in a relationship and you are being abused, even if I say this, even if you are in your familia with your family, and people there, because we find toxicity in families.
Oh my goodness, all over the place.
And God doesn't mean for us to be abused in any form.
That's right.
We have to back away. And what I love about divorce, it says irreconcilable differences.
Yes.
You really even got to name anything.
That's right. That's right. We hope you enjoyed that interview with Dr. Cox. Don't go away. We will be right back. Favorite part of the show, and that is our Around the Town segment. This is where we travel to spaces and places around Metro Atlanta and beyond, and share with you adventures from our trip. And today's adventure takes us to Chateau Elan Winery and Resort in Brazelton, Georgia.
Yeah, so my parents recently went up to Chateau Elan for a photo shoot to celebrate their 20th wedding anniversary. I wasn't there, but I saw the pictures on Facebook and it looks like they had a great time.
Yes, yes. So take a look at our time at Chateau Elan Winery and Resort. This week's Around the Town takes us to Chateau Elan Winery and Resort in Brazelton, Georgia. Spanning 3,500 acres of rolling hills and wooded forests, Chateau Elan reigns as North Georgia's premier destination resort. My husband Andrew and I first visited Chateau Elan in January of 2011 for our 10th wedding anniversary. 10 years later, we returned to the beautiful winery and resort to celebrate 20 years of marriage. The elegance and splendor of the chateau includes the exquisitely renovated atrium and the lovely room accommodations with all of the extra touches. The beautiful Versailles room and the other fine restaurants on the premises serve a variety of cuisines that is sure to satisfy almost every taste. From its humble beginnings in 1981, the Chateau Elan Winery now offers more than 30 wines produced with grapes grown in Brazelton and other Georgia vineyards. The North Georgia Winery is open daily for guided tours and tastings, as well as for other private events. Unlike the first time we visited, we spent time walking through the luscious grape-filled vineyards and enjoying the general splendor of the grounds. The vineyard made a breathtaking background for a mini anniversary photo shoot. In addition to the spectacular accommodations, the vineyard and the winery, Chateau Elan offers many other amenities, including a luxurious spa, 45 holes of champion golf, tennis with lighted courts for night play, and nature trails for walking. If you're looking for an unforgettable high-end experience, the Chateau Elan Winery and Resort is a must-see place to visit, and it will not disappoint. For more information about Chateau Elan Winery and Resort, visit www.chateauelan.com. Well, we hope you enjoyed our time at Chateau Elan. We're going to take another little break, but don't go away because we'll be right back.
Welcome back, and now we're going to do our Meal of the Week segment where I show you a quick, easy weekday meal that you can make for your family.
So take a look at the Meal of the Week.
Hello and welcome to our Meal of the Week segment. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make homemade pizza. So let's get to it. So let's get started on the dough. So pizza is a great weeknight meal to make. Although it takes a while for it to get ready, most of the time you spend on pizza is not prep time. You're just waiting for the dough to rise so you can do other things while you're waiting for the dough to finish rising. So I'm going to show you how to make a quick, easy pizza dough. So we're going to start off by putting in 4 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, some pizza recipes call for bread flour, but all-purpose flour works just as well since it has a similar gluten content. And then we're going to put in 2 cups of warm water. You don't want it hot, you just want it lukewarm. We're going to put in 1 package of active dry yeast. And 2 tablespoons of sugar. You just put all that in your mixer and you turn it on. It's that easy. So I'm just going to take this dough off of the paddle here's what it looks like. It's just, you want it to be well mixed. You don't want it to be too dry, but you also don't want it to be too sticky. So now I'm going to cover this up and let it rise for an hour, and then I'm going to stick some toppings on it and put it in the oven. Okay, so I put our pizza dough in a pan and I've shaped it. So now I'm just going to put on the toppings. So I've got some tomato sauce. You can use any brand you like, or if you're feeling really ambitious, you can make your own sauce. So I'm just going to put that on there and spread it around nicely. And now I'm going to put some mozzarella cheese on. I'm just going to spread that around. And now I've got some bell peppers and red onions, and I've got some bacon. But you can use any toppings you want. If you want to use sausage or pepperonis or ham or any other type of meat or vegetable you like, that's perfectly fine too. So I'm just going to take some onions and some bell peppers and spread those around on the pizza. I love bell peppers. They're one of my favorite vegetables. Okay, so got some vegetables on there. And now, here's some bacon. I'm just going to spread that around evenly because, you want everybody to get their fair share of bacon. People get very upset when they don't get enough meat on their slice of pizza. Okay, so we've got our pizza. It looks delicious. And now I'm just going to pop that in a 425-degree oven for about 30 minutes. And then I'll come back and show you the final results. So the pizza is out and it is absolutely delicious. So I hope this recipe helps you make a great weeknight meal for your family.
Well, we hope that makes cooking meals for you this week just a little bit easier. Don't go away because we have more planned for you. We will be right back.
Welcome back to the Elevate Talk Show. Our time together is almost done, and we have an important announcement that we'd like to share with you. We are doing a fundraiser to support the National Alliance on Mental Health. And if you're interested in learning about how you can help people who are struggling with mental health, click the link in the description and that will show you all the information that you need to know for that. And if you're watching on TV, just go to our YouTube page and you will see the link in the description and that will take you to the information.
Yes, that's a great fundraiser. We're happy to do our part to help you. And like she said, click the link and it will tell you more about what you can do to partner with us. We want to let you know, or at least remind you, that the Elevate Talk Show puts out a new episode every Sunday evening. So please go to our YouTube page and check out a new episode each week. Also, you can find us on Comcast Channel 25 at 7 p.m. if you live in DeKalb County, or you can go to the DeKalb25.com website and you can stream our show live on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. Yes.
So if you haven't done so already, please support the channel by giving us a like and by subscribing to our channel so that you don't miss any of our new episodes.
That's right. Well, we thank you for being with us again. Have a great week, and we